we are a solution-based television house. So after highlighting the challenges, we also see the need to also proffer solution. What do you think can be done to curb most of these highlighted challenges, and what policies do you think the government can put in place to ensure that things go well?
On the issue of the road network, well, government is trying these days, and you can't really blame government, because it's the resources that is available that they can use. What they don't have, you cannot give what you don't have. And, that's the problem we're having. And, a lot of innovation is going on into providing this road network in the country. I love what Raji Fashola did, with works before the end of the last administration. He came up with so many innovations. The idea of, complaints, go take some roads, repair it so that you can get tax holiday. The Shuku calling Chinese complaint to come in, take some roads, maintain it. So they brought in a lot of ideas, and I believe, this present administration should, forge ahead in the idea of, what the last administration has laid down, and, put so many things in place. Look at Apapa Oshodi, Ojota Road. See the way Dangote and the sort. I think it was purely Dangote. They lay a solid foundation for those roads, because they first use iron cast, then put concrete before they now put the tar. So that's a good road, and I think this should continue. So on the issue of road, government should just see it as a very, very important issue that must be given utmost attention. Then on the issue of the security, you see, most of these companies that are operating, they need to be registered and, properly registered in such a way that, the activities can be monitored. Look at the issue of, the guy I said was arrested in Kogi State. If it's a registered company and there are guides, there are rules and regulations guiding them. If something like that happens and he has not violated any rules laid down by them, all he needs to have done is, this is what I am doing my own business. So I don't know, these are the people that ordered me, and, they will release him and pick the offender, not, keeping him behind bars for more than 2 weeks. At the end of the day, they collected his money, collected his phone and all those things. So, there should be proper rules and regulations guiding the operation of this logistic business. So on the issue of security, that's an aspect. Then also, the security outfits in this country, they need to do better in their money, in their securing of the country. Getting to know what are the problems facing us, what are the things that they can do, to combat all these problems. I think the security outfits, they need to up their games and do better than what they are doing now. Then on the issue of internet, what I identified there is the issue of having a good supply of electricity. And it's when it comes to electricity, I baffled, because this country up to now we are not generating more than 30,000 megawatts. A country over 220 million generating 30,000 megawatts. It's an aberration. We are not supposed to be generating anything less than 100,000 megawatts of electricity in Nigeria. So for us to be operating on, at times they will say the what's it called is down. The national grid is down, and we will come back to like 2,000 megawatts. All these things, need to be looked at critically and ensure that, because there is no way we can grow in this country if we don't really, really pay attention, especially to electricity generation, electricity supply in this country. And, another problem is the amount that people are ready to pay for electricity. And if we want good things, we should be ready to pay for it. So that is my idea when it comes to the issue of logistic business in this
Indeed,
country.
indeed. Thank you so much. Now, we know that this particular sector is majorly run by the private individuals. Probably that's the reason why there is not so much governmental involvement. However, what would you say about collaboration, like government collaborating with this private enterprises in order to, overcome all these challenges and unlock even more opportunities to the people?
It is actually the government business to ensure that the businesses in the economy is working well. So there is no other collaboration other than government doing their business. It is the business of the government to see that doing business in this country is going on well. Because if the businesses are not working well, there is no way government can generate its revenue efficiently. It is when business is working well that the economy will grow. And when the economy is growing, that is when what government is going to collect as tax is going to improve. So anything hampering businesses is hampering the economic growth, reducing the rate at which people can enjoy what you can produce in the country. So I'm sure government knows that businesses must work well. So there is nothing like partnering. Government should do their duty to ensure that all these things that I have highlighted are taken, because it's not just for the logistic business, it is for the country. So whatever government is doing is not as if it's particular to the logistic business. If the internet is working well, it's not only in the logistic business that they will enjoy it. Even in the education industry, where I belong to, we need internet. A seamless, internet that is fast, not just the one that we're having now. So you see, it is not something that government needs to start doing any private partnership or whatever. Government should see all these issues we are talking about, good roads. It's not only logistic businesses affected, it's affecting all enterprises in the country. So they are the issues that government should face, with utmost importance to ensure that things are working seamlessly in the country.
Yes, of course, and the government is looking in that direction already. Reports have it that the government is looking to get involved in this logistics industry and see how to make it better. So now, what would you say of the future of this industry going forward? Yes, how would you envision the future of logistics in Nigeria, considering, how far we've come technologically, talking about technology now, the use of AI and all of that. How far do you think we have come in that regard, and how far can we go?
If you see what is happening now, we are still, far behind, the world, what the world is doing when in terms of logistic business, because, we are still using human beings, either through bicycle, motor, power bike, there are some places that, transportation there are not all that easy, that we need, to make use of, AI, such as, places where you have to pass through maybe mountain, places where you have to pass through water, you can deploy, what's this thing called? That, you just, for instance, now you want to pass drug across to a place, there are some diseases that, in fact, the people that have it, they are not supposed to be in contact with human beings. So I'm sure in the near future, we'll see a situation where robots, will be delivering, things like drugs and things like that, and where we are going to be making use of aero gadgets, to pass things across, so that, the time frame from when the thing is passed to where it gets to will be as, as short as possible. So there are still a lot of developments, to go. And when you look at all this logistic business, is working well only in big cities. It still needs to be developed across even rural areas. Farmers might be needing fertilizers, things like that. We need to, for instance, maybe in the village or in some rural area, there might be some animal farm that need some drugs for their animals urgently. So there should be ways, to quickly pass these things across. I can see in the near future, in this country, where helicopters, will be delivering parcels, as taking the shortest time frame, to get things across, where we'll be making use of robotics, to deliver things, where we'll be making use of aerospace, helicopters, and all sorts, to do businesses in the logistic. But today, I will say, at least we are doing well. But I'm sure in the near future, we will see that, we are going to do far, far better than the way we are doing today.
Yes, you mentioned the use of robots and all of that in delivering of goods and products to customers. Now, wouldn't that further reduce the amount or the level of increase rather the level of employment in Nigeria? I mean, we already have that issue.
No, you see, every aspect have their own role to play. There are some things that, you might be using robotic to deliver. I told you that in a situation where, you want to get a drug across to somebody that has a kind of disease that is contagious, it is better, we use robotic in that instance. Then in a situation where, you want to quickly get something across, a terrain that are not, smooth, a hilly, mountainous, or water area, those are the areas, that I am advocating that we can be making use of aerospace and, situation where, somebody having a contagious diseases is what I am, asking for robotic to deliver, the injections or whatever, the person needs. So everybody has their role to play. But believe me sincerely, looking forward, there are so many things that technology is going to take over. And that's part of the development. But the truth is this, that does not mean that, there won't be work, that, the technology will be taking people's work. Because all these things will still be powered by human beings. And, once you are talking about machine or whatever you call it, machine needs to be repaired, machine needs to be maintained. And, so definitely people, it's going to create more job opportunities in other fields. And everybody needs to be forward looking. Once you know that you are in a field that might be taken over in the near future, by technology, you should know early enough and start asking yourself, in what area should I quickly tilt towards? You don't wait until your job is taken completely from you before you realize that you don't have job again. Look at, there was a time in this country that the typists and all those things is the order of the day. But today, if you have not developed yourself to make use of computers, you will be rendered jobless. But to those that see it coming and quickly train themselves in how to use computer, they convert it. So, it's still the work of a typist, but they don't call them typists again. So, they are now secretary or whatever you want to call them. So all we need to do is, there are so many jobs in the near future that will be taken over by technology. So we need to identify that early enough and start planning, towards that. But that technology will not, you cannot, affect technological development because, you are saying that people will not, it's going to take up people's job. No, that's not the right way to go.
Let's speak to security, not in the context you initially spoke about, but in a new context. What regulatory policies should be put in place to ensure the safety of cargoes, basically, and to mitigate theft? Because we see people who, you know, these dispatch riders and all of that, they face different risk of their tricycles or whatever getting, you know, stolen and all these other factors. What policies can be put in place to ensure that these people who, you know, who operate in this industry are safe from harm?
Actually, you know, when it comes to business, you know, and security or insecurity, it's a big problem in this country. But for now, what I can recommend is that number one, you know, packaging of parcels should be looked at critically, because if the packaging is not appropriate in the process of moving a parcel, you know, once you're entering into potholes, you know, manholes, elephant holes, the parcel can get damaged. So we need to look at the packaging of the parcel to ensure that, you know, the packaging can take care of the parcel in such a way that no matter, you know, the terrain of the road, the parcel will be appropriately, you know, taken care of. So we need to look at the parcel packaging. That's number one. Then number two, on the issue of the insecurity, I think insurance have a role to play in that aspect. You know, stealing of the gadgets, you know, the people use, such as their power bike, also the damaging of the goods too. So insurance has a role to play. If insurance is doing their work, you know, if any of these things happen, then the insurance will have to pay, you know, the damages. Then not only the insuring of the commodity, but they must also insure life insurance of the people that are driving this logistic business. You know, maybe the person driving the Okada or driving the bicycle. You know, we need to insure their life. And once the insurance are taking over this thing, I am sure, you know, they are going to put policies in place that will safeguard the life of these people, because they know once anything happens to any of them, they are going to pay a lot of money. And not to pay the money, they will ensure that, you know, there is adequate security, you know, provision of adequate security to ensure that these people's life, you know, are safeguarded.
All right. Now, what you earlier spoke about security, about how dispatch riders deliver products that are not supposed to be delivered, you know, to individuals. Now, couldn't there be some sort of data analysis? If we have the data of everyone involved, you know, in like every industry, every company, every dispatch company, every logistic company, you know, has a database of each person, each rider, and all of this. Wouldn't such a situation not be avoided?
You're right on that. And that's why I said, you know, all these all these, you know, local logistic businesses, are they all registered? Because we need to start from there. If they are not registered, you know, how can you get a database of, you know, companies that are not registered? So, you know, government needs to do a lot of things in this area, you know, and the first stage is to ensure that there is a proper law guiding the operation of this logistic business. Once the proper law is in place, it is out of that law that we show that, okay, if you want to be operating, you know, a logistic business, you must be registered. In fact, all, you know, all duties, all, you know, all parcel that you pick must be registered. For instance, you know, there must be a data site where, as you are picking an object or whatever, you know, you log it in. As you are delivering, you log it in, so that if anything happens, once any, you know, law agents, you know, catch you, they realize that, oh, you're only doing your normal business, a legitimate business. Because see it, go to the data site, you will see, I log it, I'm coming from Lagos, I'm going to Abuja, and this is, you know, when was it logged in? You will see it and realize that, okay, you are still within the time frame of moving from Lagos to Abuja is the same duty that you started in Lagos that you have not ended, that you are in Kogi for. So these are all the things that government needs to look at and ensure that there is proper documentation. But the starting point is all these logistic businesses must be registered.
Very well, very well. Now let's look at the economic impact of different factors such as inflation, currency fluctuation, and all of this. Does it, of course, all of this affects the demand, the customer demand for these services? How can policymakers basically ensure that this challenge is, is looked into and, somewhat made a little bit better?
You see, when it comes to the issue of what is happening in the economy currently now, it is something that is going to normalize with time. We are really, really in a difficult time now, and it's because of the price of the petrol, which is affecting transportation and logistic business. Anyhow you want to look at it. I am not going to call on government, to come in this area, because if you are advocating, what do you want to advocate government to do? To start subsidizing again? No, it is something that with time everything would normalize, and by the time we are paying, we are enjoying, this policy of liberalization and all those things, we'll realize that it is an headache that is short-lived. So for now, I don't see any way with which government can help when it comes to that. It is something that all the businesses are facing, and we are hoping that very soon. And when I'm saying very soon, that soon can be as soon as 1 year, 12 months or even more. But with time, if we continue on this path that this present administration has started, it's just a matter of time before we start again. But for now, I think the road is rough, and everybody, we have to understand that, and we have to tighten our belts.
So, Dr. Ajunwo, as an economist, professional, what would you advise? Do you think this is a business people should further venture into? Do you think this is a very laudable business that you'd advise other people to get involved in?
You see, when it comes to business is not something you advise people to go into. People will catch the cruise the way they want it. So you don't advise people that go into this business. Anybody that is there, we know whether, this is the right business for me or this is not the right business for me. People are waking up on daily basis, they are going into that business, and people are leaving. So whether you will go for it or not, it has to do with whether it is right for you or not. But definitely, it is a lucrative business. If you can, do it well, it's a lucrative business. Those that are there, anybody that feel like going in there, they can go and speak with the people there so that they will know the challenges they are facing and, how they are making it. But for me to say, go into this business, no. I don't do that. You are the one that will catch the cruise. If you see it as something that you really want to go into, fine. But if you don't see it as something you need to go into, fine as well. So it is the business people that will decide, the kind of business they want to go into.
Okay. Now, compared to other climes, this same industry in other parts of the world, do you think Nigeria is doing well enough? And are there any, blueprints or templates that we could duplicate here in Nigeria?
Actually, when it comes to, whether there is a blueprint or whatever, I would say Nigeria is not doing badly. And we are not in the best of, and we all know why we are not, doing better than the way we are doing. It's because of all those challenges, I have enumerated. And I believe, in the near future, we'll do far, far better than the way we are doing today. But, in terms of how we are doing, I think, we are not doing badly. We are not doing badly at all.
Indeed. We'll be rounding up the show very shortly, but I would like to hear your final thoughts on this topic, sir.
You know, logistic business is a business that, you know, I'm happy with what is happening, you know, in it in Nigeria now, because, you know, I am in Lagos and I can see what is actually happening. The other time, you know, we are doing some research in across the whole country. I was the one to facilitate the South, and, you know, what we were using was Port Harcourt. You know, to get all the materials across to Port Harcourt was so seamless. And, you know, I was able to take care of the Port Harcourt, you know, while I was in Lagos. And, you know, it's something that, you know, when I look at what happened, I was really, really happy about it. Things were working seamlessly. And I believe that, you know, if all those things I've highlighted that are the issues are taken care of, you know, because when you look at Nigeria population, our population have not started slowing down. It will, you know, it will take a while before our population will start slowing down. So when you're looking at a population of about 220 million, that is going to be 250 million by 2030, you will know that, you know, this is a business that is going to be lucrative, or that will do well in the near future. So I'm happy with the way, you know, the business is growing. I'm happy with where we are, and I'm sure that in the near future, you know, we are going to do far, far better than the way we are doing now.